How the narcissist changes your identity. You better believe that they do. This is one of the major things that you got to really watch out for. These people absolutely will change your identity. See, you are not the same person when you're with these people. You guys can all attest. And let me tell you this. You want there's many that can be offered. You want a good litmus test for whether or not you were with a narcissist? Did your identity change in the process of being with them? Because if it didn't, if you literally were with them for an extended period of time and you just completely retained in everything about your identity, you were exactly the same person. You moved in the world exactly the same way. You operated exactly the same way the whole time. You weren't with a narcissist because they won't allow you to do that. They are like a python that just slowly squeezes you. You don't know what's happening until it's too late, basically, because it's just that gentle. Obviously, we know how things start. They start so well, they're on their best behavior. They are basically convincing you that they are every single thing you could possibly want in a human being. They have the same interests as you, you're mirrored. They are kind, considerate, stable. They want to be with you, they can make it work. Yes, there are red flags even during the love bomb, and I've talked about that before. There are red flags that we ignored or we glossed over, and there's lots of reasons. I'm not going to go into that for this video. But for the most part, they presented something to us. This is what they do, that it was completely different than who they really are. And then when the devaluation starts, that python starts to slowly squeeze, just little by little, little by little. And every time you move, it gets a slight bit tighter. And you don't notice it until you do. Until one day you wake up, and whatever period down the road this is, you were with the person, and you realize this person is now they're just abusive. This is an abusive relationship. They are not good to me. They're not a healthy person. I don't feel good about myself. I don't like where this is heading. And it's like you woke up and you're in mid squeeze and you realize it, and you didn't realize it before then. This is what it's like to be with these people. They trick you into something, and by the time you start to really see it, you're already involved. You're already within a mid squeeze of that python's grip. And if you go on long enough, what happens is you wake up one day and you don't recognize yourself. Maybe you still have a lot of the same traits. Maybe you're still, I'm not saying you become a totally wicked person. I'm not saying that, but you don't recognize yourself when you look in the mirror anymore. You don't like what you see. You don't like what you've become with this person. That's inevitable. And that is exactly what happened to me. By the end of it, I really sat and assessed the entire situation, every part of it. And I thought about who I am, the way I behave now in certain respects, the way I see the world, my relationship with God, which I'll get to, and everything else. And you just realize this has done huge damage to my life. This person has just taken a really good life that I had, and it's just a shell of what it was at this point. But like I said, it happens so slowly and so gradually that you don't realize it. These people don't just turn overnight into being absolutely wicked all of the time. They do it slowly, and that's why it's so devastating. And that's what people don't understand. Why don't you just get out? Why don't you just get out? Because there's way more to the dynamic than that. You have a trauma bond to deal with. You saw a great person, and now you're slowly descending into this dark pit with a person so slowly that you don't really understand it till you're there. And then once you're there, you've got a lot invested. You've got a lot involved. You've got the sunk cost fallacy where you've already put so much in. And it's embarrassing to other people. And it's embarrassing to admit to yourself. And you don't want to start over again. and you don't want to be lonely. And there's so many different reasons. But all the while, your personality changed and morphed for the worse. You became a little more like them throughout that relationship. One of the things that happens is you lose your confidence in everything. I was a confident person, not cocky, confident. I'm sure many of you were too. You believed in your abilities to do things. You knew you could navigate the world successfully. You were confident in your ability to do your job, raise your kids, help other people, do whatever it is you're doing. You knew you were able to do those things. You had belief in yourself in that sense. That deteriorates with the narcissist. You become very uneasy. And you guys can understand this feeling. It's hard to even put into words. It's a weird, insecure, jittery feeling when you're with them. You just don't believe in yourself. You don't believe in your ability to do things the way that you used to. And that's because they've weighed down on you so much. They berated you. They belittled you in your ability to do anything: cooking, cleaning, driving, working, fixing things, cooking, cleaning. Doesn't matter what it is. You can't do any of it the right way. And over time, you lose your confidence in your own abilities. Like I've said many times, I got to a point where I could walk into a department store and not even know what to pick out. I was so on edge. I was so anxiety riddled that I couldn't walk into a place and pick out the right things sometimes, or I'd forget while I was there, or I didn't believe in myself to do a tiny small repair at my house anymore because the person had convinced me so thoroughly that I was just useless when it came to home repairs. Is that true? No, it's not true. But that is what was convinced. That was what I was convinced of. You lose your confidence with these people. Also, you start to believe that you aren't valuable anymore or that you can't do better. Yes, just as an example, let's just say for some of you guys, you're a person who can attract a lot of people, or at least a reasonable amount of people. The opposite sex, they tend to like you. You tend to get options or people that come your way at least somewhat regularly. You're valuable in the opposite sex's eyes. A lot of people on this channel are like that. You start believing, though, that you can't attract anybody. That who would be interested in me? Who would want to be with me? Because they make you feel so little. A lot of the reason people stay is because they get to a point where they actually believe truly that there's nothing better for them. That there's no way there's another person out there who's better for them, who would have them. And of course, many are terrified to be alone because we become codependent. That's what they do. But also, you actually just think, well, even if I wasn't in this relationship, I mean, who's going to have me? Which, do you know how stupid that is? That's lunacy. That's absolutely so upside down in thinking and so far from the truth. But that's what it's like to be with them. You also just start to carry yourself differently. The way you interact with a person at the grocery store, the way you interact with a customer at your job, for an example, or your coworkers, or people, say you go to a family reunion and you're interacting with extended family members. Just so many situations, you know what I'm saying, where it goes back to the confidence, but you're not carrying yourself with any power anymore. You're just hesitant. You're unsure. You're unclear of how to even handle things, how to talk to people anymore. You're just not moving smoothly through the world at all. They take that away from you. The very way you simply carry yourself and walk and talk and move changes. And you know what I'm saying. And it changes drastically, radically. And you even feel guilty just about even talking to other people because they make you feel so insecure. They're allowed to triangulate you till the cows come home, and you're insecure if you have a problem with it. But they make you to the point where you can't even talk to somebody you've worked with for 15 years in a totally, totally friendship level. You don't even want to do that because you feel like you're cheating on them or betraying them because that's what they do to you. You start to, your relationships, I should say, in every aspect change radically, radically. Your friendships, guarantee you, your strong friendships evaporated. You might have kept contact with the person to some degree, but were you seeing them regularly? Were you talking to them regularly? Were they an integral part of your life anymore? The narcissist doesn't want you to have deep, close friendships with anyone because they don't want you to have a support system outside of them, and they don't want anyone else to shine a light on their corruption because they know the more people you have in your life as friends or family, the more chance they have of someone saying, "Brother, like, what's going on? Are you okay? What's happening in your life?" And then you start to share with them just a little bit about what the narcissist does, and that person, if they're a good friend, is gonna be like, "Hey, something's badly wrong with this. This person's not treating you correctly. You can't stay in this. This is going to sabotage you. This is a wicked person." The narcissist doesn't want to risk that. So they don't want you to have close friendships. And the amazing thing is, and this is true for family too, they don't want you to be close to your family, usually, either. And the amazing thing is, does the narcissist come out and just say, "I don't want you ever seeing this person and your family and friends again"? Probably not. They're much more subtle. It's like that snake squeezing you. It's all those little jabby comments they'll make. "Well, I don't know why you hang out with that person anyway." "Well, why did he do that?" "Well, what? You trust that person?" And it's those little things, and the next thing you know, you're not in contact anymore. Or your friendships and relationships, and even with your kids at times, is a shell of what it was. You can't be attached to one of these people and maintain good, healthy, thriving relationships with other people. It doesn't work. They won't let you. It just changes throughout the course of the relationship. Not in a moment, not in an instant, not from one thing they said, but from every little facet of that relationship. It just carries you away from yourself. It carries you away from those who love you, from every other thing but the narcissist. Until the narcissist literally is the center of your universe. Everything is orbiting around the narcissist at all times, and that's how they demand it to be. And like I said, the truly demonic part of this is that they never come out right and just say that. It's that every aspect of the relationship slowly gets you to that point. Additionally, your finances, they will change to some degree. It wasn't radical, but when I look back, my finances definitely went downhill when I was with this person. Not to the point where I was in financial trouble or anything like that, but in the time that came after that, and what I was able to start putting back in what I had in the months and year or two after that, and then you look back on where you were with the narcissist, you're like, holy smokes, where was this money going? It was like it's just evaporating. You don't even know where it's going. Gas here, dinners here, picking this up for the person, grabbing some groceries here and there for the person, taking them here, doing it, and boy, it adds up. And you actually look at your finances and you're like, this is bad. This I was going straight downhill. Some of you guys were bankrupted. Some of you guys lost everything. I'm so sorry, and I know you did. I know it. They can absolutely take everything you have. I know a guy, just as an example, who had his life. He was retired. He had a great residual income, nice home, everything paid off. This dude had it made. He got with a narcissistic female. Within 3 years, he was back working basically part time, every part time job he could find, multiple jobs, trying to catch up, going in debt, losing things he had. We're talking about a guy whose life was set up, and in a few years, he was back to scrounging, scraping a living. They do this. They can do it to you. And it doesn't all go at once. It's just like everything else. It's this slow process, and by the time you realize how bad it is, it's you're stuck. You're stuck in it, or you're far down the hole. Your health changes too. You do become more anxious. I know people who developed serious problems, strokes, heart attacks, high blood pressure, um, anxiety. One of the things people don't even mention, I'm telling you right now, this is huge. Stress and anxiety radically drop your vitamin and mineral levels, particularly vitamin B. A lot of people, if you have serious trouble sleeping and you have nightmares and you're very anxious, I'll bet you almost anything you have a vitamin B deficiency. I did. It took me forever to figure it out. And I had to figure out on YouTube, Dr. Berg. Go check Dr. Berg out. It's amazing. And that's how I figured it out. And that was brought about by a lot of the stuff. And that's when you can't sleep and you're restless and you're anxiety ridden and you just can't, you just constantly feel like your insides are kind of shaking. Yeah. Your health changes. Some degree. Maybe it's just a little anxiety, a little stress, and a little high blood pressure, or it's something far more severe, but your health changes. And that's why people do perish when they're in these relationships. They will drive you literally to not be here anymore. It happens. Your relationship with God changes. They're demonically attached. They are a peace thief, a stealer of the peace, a chaos creator. They have demonic attachment. You cannot be with one of these individuals and maintain the proper relationship with God. Am I saying that when you're with a narcissist, you lose your salvation? No, that's not what I'm saying. Can that happen? Yes, it can happen, especially if it goes on long enough, because you become so little like yourself and you lose so much attachment to the Lord. But you will lose that relationship because even, let's just say you're on your own. I mean, I walk all the time. I always have. I fish, I walk. Those are the major times I talk to the Lord. When you're with a narcissist, guess what I was doing the entire time when I did have a moment to go walk, which I did far less because they take your hobbies too. Didn't even mention it, but they'll steal your passions. If you're a writer, an author maybe, or a YouTuber, or a cook, or you work this, or whatever it is you do, they'll take that from you because it becomes all about them. But I would go on walks, one of my favorite things on earth to do. But guess what I'm doing the entire time when I was with the narcissist? Am I talking to the Lord? Am I praying? Am I enjoying the scenery? Am I just at peace? No. Constant rumination about the narcissist. Constant. When am I going to see him again? What are they doing? When are they going to text again? Why'd she say that? Why'd they do that? Constant. That's a curse. Your relationship changes. You do things that you would never normally do. You say things you would never normally say. You behave in ways you'd never normally behave, and they know it. At the end, they might even tell you, I know I make people act out of character. I know I do things to make people act out of character. They know they do that because it happens every time. Maybe even at the end, they'll accuse you of cheating, probably because they were, but they'll accuse you of cheating because they think, well, I know this person wouldn't normally do that, but in this situation, as much as I've done to them and as rattled as they are, maybe they are cheating on me. Because they know they change your personality. So guys, it is a nightmare to deal with these people. Everything that makes you, you, is altered. It's a slow disintegration. It's a slow fall into the abyss. The longer you're with them, the worse it gets, the more you lose yourself. And the consequences could not be more dire. You can, in some spectrum, from a little to all the way, you can lose your confidence, your belief in yourself, your understanding of your value, the way you carry yourself, your relationships with family and friends and other people, your relationship with God, your finances, your health. All of this is going to be affected somewhere between significantly to radically. It's just how it works. And if you think you were with a narcissist and these types of things didn't occur, you weren't with a narcissist. You just weren't. I promise you that. Thanks for watching the channel. I hope you still do. Educate yourselves, but you weren't with a narcissist if these types of things didn't happen when you were with them. Because I can guarantee you one thing, 100%, and I'll close with this. Said it before, I'll say it 1,000 times over. You will not change the narcissist, but they will change you. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Drop comments below if you did. Come at you with another one soon. Until then, God bless.